centennial year and the wonderful, wonderful families who lived here and all of the descendants of the families that are with us today. Thanks for being here. I am Lula Whaley Grammer. I married Nat Grammer in 1885 and we moved to Fort Worth. I was his bride of 17 years. We moved into our home at 808 Burnett Street where my 4 children, Robert, Gladys, Natalie, and Mary, were all born. We attended First Methodist Church. I was a member of the Women's Club, the Cirrhosis Club, and the Eastern Star. Nat opened what became the largest drugstore in Fort Worth in 1899 on the corner of Main and Weatherford Streets. The address was 100 North Main. Nat was the druggist of choice for city employees at that time, where they could receive prescriptions for 10 cents apiece. Yeah. He was a Mason. He would organize the Fort Worth and Tarrant County Druggists Association, and he was their first treasurer. Business was good. It was too good. He opened a second location in 1904 on Main and 5th Streets. He worked so very hard. He worked too hard. He died of a heart attack in 1912. He was 48 years old. I moved into this house in 1917 to escape the development of downtown, and I stayed here until 1940 when I moved in with my daughter as my health was starting to decline. I died in 1952 and was buried in Oakwood Cemetery next to my beloved Nat here on the north side of Fort Worth. Well, the house sold, and it sold again, this time to the Pierce family in 1948. Mark Pierce and Alice Lewis were the 5th owners of this house, and they were married on August the 18th, 1915 in Lindsay, Oklahoma. Mark went into the real estate business after his marriage, and he and Alice had 2 sons, Maurice Lewis, born in 1916, and William Ainsworth, born in 1919. After the stock market crash in 1929, the real estate market was no longer viable. Alice and Mark lost all they had. The Pierces moved to Fort Worth, where their son William had connections to help Mark find work. Gradually, the Pierces recovered financially and purchased a home in an old, established residential area in Fort Worth at 2232 College Avenue. And the title of this house was listed only in Alice's name. Alice was part Choctaw Indian from Indian Territory, which is, of course, modern-day Oklahoma, and she was very proud of her Indian heritage. Her grandson, Roy Pierce, recalls nights spent in this house with Alice telling bedtime stories in the Choctaw language, which were then translated into English so that her grandchildren could understand. Alice's siblings include Grady Wallace Lewis, the first attorney for the Choctaw Nation, and Anna Lewis, an author who wrote books about Chief Push Mataha, who is known as one of the greatest Choctaw chiefs. Mark and Alice were the second longest residents of this house when they sold it in 1970 due to health reasons, and then they moved to San Antonio to live near their son William. Cookies and drinks will be available here on the porch. Please don't take any of the food or drink inside the house, and the house will be open for anybody who wishes to view it. It's even more beautiful today than it was when I lived here. The current owners, Stacy and Eric Luker, have worked so hard to make our house shine. But wait, there's more. While you're in the neighborhood, please take time to enjoy the 34th Annual Fairmount Home Tour, which is going on today and tomorrow. And at this time, I would like to introduce you to Ellen Timberlake Volz, who is a member of the Tarrant County Historical Commission.
Now, you may or may not know this, but Lula Grammer is also known as our friend Debbie Carl. Debbie Carl also serves on the Tarrant County Historical Commission. She works at the Sid Richardson Museum, downtown Fort Worth, and is always there with her smiling face. And when she's not busy doing any of those things or posing as Lula Grammer or a number of other characters, she is vice president of the North Fort Worth Historical Society. So she stays very, very busy and is very invested in preserving and keeping the story of Fort Worth and all of our properties alive. We appreciate you. Thank you, Miss Lula. I'm Ellen Timberlake Volz. I serve on the Tarrant County Historical Commission, and I am currently the marker chair. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about historical markers. Since 1953, the Texas Historical Commission has coordinated the marking of Texas's significant sites, persons, events, and structures. The RTHL designation is conveyed by an official Texas historical marker when the final line of the inscription reads, Recorded Texas Historic Landmark. The RTHL designation is awarded to historic structures deemed worthy of preservation for their architectural integrity and historical associations. It is the highest honor the state can bestow on historic structures in Texas. A structure must be at least 50 years old and retain its architectural integrity. It should be in good repair and reflect the appearance it exhibited during its association with a significant person or event. We see historic markers everywhere. Growing up, stopping to read roadside markers was a family tradition. But have you ever wondered how a marker is born? The process begins on a local level. A marker application includes a narrative history with reference notes and bibliography, as well as information on the persons, events, and/or organizations associated with the property. In fact, this narrative must be prepared at the local level, either by the owner, a hired researcher, or some other interested person or organization. A site map and floor plan is also submitted, along with current photographs and at least one historic photograph that verifies the integrity of the structure's current appearance. Everything is then submitted through the County Historical Commission, who becomes the liaison between the Texas Historical Commission and the applicant. The cost of the marker, once approved, is borne locally, as there are no state funds with which to purchase markers. At the state level, THC staff prepares the marker text, but owners and the County Historical Commission have the opportunity to review and approve the inscription before the marker is sent to the foundry for casting. The process can take a year or more, but because of the dedication shared by many, many individuals, we are able to learn about Texas history and share it with future generations. Today, we are here to dedicate one more marker that will tell the story of our forefathers and our city for years to come. It is most important that you understand that even though a marker is the property of the state of Texas and the Texas Historic Commission, it is not paid for by the state. It is paid for by individuals who have a commitment to preserving history, and they do all the work, and they pay for the marker, and they maintain the marker. So it's very significant that the Lukers have decided to invest that and have decided that the marker we dedicate today is the 100th birthday present for their house. Ms. Stacy, may I introduce Judge Glenn Whitley.
Thank you very much. I am Glenn Whitley. I'm a Tarrant County judge, and it is such a privilege to be here today. And also to be with Councilwoman Anzeta, who, in the short time that we've gotten to kind of work together, I really sense her passion for working to preserve these neighborhoods. You do realize that this Fairmount Historic District is the largest district in the southwest part of the United States, not just Texas, really throughout the United States. And what a great, great deal it is I got out of my car to come here today, and I walked up this street. All I could think of is walking to Grandma's house. And then when we walked through, Stacy talked about how comfortable she feels in this house, and again I said, but it's like Grandma's house. You always felt comfortable there, and that's what's neat about this, is that we find these pockets where we can be involved and can be a part of it. And a lot of times that's only because people like Stacy and the families, the Pierce family, have kept it, have remembered it, and helped to really bring that forward. And also, I would really like for the members of our historical commission to raise their hands at this point in time. Steve's our chairman right now. We've got a lot of folks, they really spend a great deal of their time researching and looking into this and making sure that things are right, and that we have an opportunity to read about the history not only of the neighborhood, not only of our city, but also of our state and of our country. And it's so neat just to listen to what you were saying earlier, and just thinking back over the history, and it gives you a flavor of what was going on at the time. I grew up in a Masonic family, and I remember and know that in the 1900s, really all the way up in the Masonic organization is still strong, but not near as strong and present as it was in those particular times. So it is really an honor to be here today, to be a part of this. I thank all of y'all for coming out and being a part of it. And I know that you're going to really be excited when you have an opportunity to walk back in and remember going to Grandma's house and the comfort that you had, and just how safe and secure you felt when you went in there. So again, thank you very much for allowing me to be a part of this.
Hi there, my name is Maurice Pierce. I'm one of the grandsons of Alice and Mark. My brother Roy is here, and one of his sons are here today. Lulu took my speech that I had, and I lost it, and I couldn't figure out where it went, and I know she had it. So I would just like to say quickly that I really appreciate what Eric and Stacy did. I mean, they really worked. About a year, I guess it was a year and a half ago, I got a phone call from this strange lady, and said she was looking for pictures of what we had done, anything that we had done over here in Fort Worth. And of course, we looked and looked. And I don't know how many we got. My brother got more than I had, but she's used those, and then we've been in touch with each other a lot since that time. Last year, we came to the tour and I saw the house for the first time since the 70s, and I was amazed at how great it looked. I never thought that, my grandmother was pretty particular about the way the house looked, and she kept it really nice, but I think Stacy's and Eric has done one heck of a job in the house. But we really appreciate what they've done. We appreciate them getting the plaque, and that's about all I can say. I really appreciate what they've done. And I tell you, I need Lulu's history. She knows more about what's going on here than I do. She needs to pass it up a little bit. But that's all I've got to say. Thank you.
All right, I am Robert Grammer. I'm going to start off. I really think it's amazing that my great-great-grandmother was somehow able to make it here today.
My pleasure, sweetie.
Yeah. I'm going to keep it short. Really, I just want to thank Stacy and Eric, because really, none of this would have even happened without it. And I really just also want to point out that this entire area really is, every house really does have good history. I think we got lucky that Stacy felt the need to dig deep and see the history behind the home. And that's really all I have to say. I'm ready to go ahead and rebuild this thing.
And then we're going to count down from 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! Yay! marvelous. Eric, Stacy, y'all done good, kiddos. Now come up to the front porch, get out of this hot sun, have some punch, some cookies. If you'd like to tour the inside of the house, please come in, but leave your refreshments outside. Thank you.